The PCT was this grand, adventure. I never thought that I was going to be able to do it. And then the opportunity came, and I just thought, I couldn't find a reason not to do it. So I just wanted to, take up this grand adventure. The Pacific Crest Trail goes from Mexico to Canada through the west coast. It's 2,650 miles. It took me about 6 months to complete. It goes through California, Oregon, and then Washington, and ends at Canada. It's a wilderness trail, so it follows the ridge of the mountains all the way. So it's very hilly with small sections of flat, crossing deserts, a few roadwalks. But for the most part, it's just up and down through the mountains. So when I started the Pacific Crest Trail from Mexico, I actually started on my own. But there's so many people out there, you meet so many different types of people. Most people do find a group of hikers to hike with, so I was rarely alone. I was fortunate to have my core group of people that I could stick with. So my day in the life from the PCT, I would try and wake up about 6 or 7 a.m., make my breakfast, make my coffee, and wait for it to get a little bit warmer. Pack my stuff up and just hike, take small breaks along the way, meet up with my other friends, for lunch, and then usually around 7 p.m. or whenever the sun is starting to go down, just find a place to camp. Made it to the water cache, and it's pretty cool. We're going to be in Sequoia National Forest in about 18 miles, and it should be even nicer, but it's absolutely gorgeous out here. Out of the pine trees, kind of sad about that, but still very nice. You can see some snowy mountains off in the distance. Saw one over here, and there's some more over there. That's where we're going. So at the start of the trail, I would hike about 15 miles or so a day. But by the end, I was in a time crunch and I was hiking anywhere from 30 to 35 miles a day. I did take rest days along the trail. So you get into a town every 3 to 5 days. And if I was just really tired, or if I was injured, or if the weather was bad, then I could stay in a hotel or just, find a place to kind of settle down until I was feeling better. The hardest part of the PCT for me was definitely Southern California. So I was just starting, the miles were harder, it was all new to me. And then there were a lot of late season snowstorms in SoCal. So the mountains get up to 10,000 feet, and it's not really what you think of when you think of Southern California. So I had to hike through snow for weeks with no trail, and just being cold every day, putting on frozen shoes and socks. It's a really big mental challenge. I'm gonna go for it, I think.
Yeah, I think you can make it.
Yeah, carnage. Carnage on Forester Pass.
Now licking.
So typically it was 3 to 5 days between my food resupplies. There were times where it was more sparse. So in Southern California, with COVID, it was harder to find grocery stores. And then especially in the Sierra Mountains, I went 12 days without food resupply. So there were times where I would have to go quite a long time. Good boys. Before I started the Pacific Crest Trail, I wasn't worried at all about being vegan on trail. It's something that other people have done before, and I felt comfortable in myself. I knew that I would be able to figure something out no matter what. There's a lot of resources online that you can find vegan food items. You can always hitch into different towns or have things shipped to you if you have special dietary restrictions. So I always felt like there was an option for me on trail. I was never worried about whether or not I was going to be able to hike the trail vegan. The main trick is you just need to be flexible. And so sometimes you can eat really well and sometimes you can't. So if I came into a town like Mammoth Lakes in California or Bend, Oregon, where they had a ton of different food selections, then I would load up on more food in those towns, knowing that maybe my next food stop wouldn't have as many options. So there is some future thinking that you have to do, but it's not anything that that should scare you away. If I had to pick one spot, I would say the Sierras are my favorite. So I've grown up in California my whole life, and the Sierras is really what made me excited to get outdoors. And so being able to get into the Sierras from the desert and see it slowly transition and then come out of them, I think was especially meaningful for me and was my favorite spot. I remember one day on the PCT that was especially memorable for me was the day that I finally got through California and got into Oregon. I was hiking through California at that point, I think for 4 months, and so I was really excited to be able to say that I hiked on foot all the way through one state, and especially California, that was my home state. Walking through, getting to that sign, just this inconspicuous sign on the side of the trail, was really meaningful for me. I was expecting to do the whole thing by myself. I was really individualistic. But when I went out there, I learned about these different trail communities and saw just how kind everybody could be. And so I learned for myself to open up more and be more open to experiencing these things with other people. And I'd say it also clarified what I want from my life and what makes me happy. It made my plans for the future more outdoor oriented. After the Pacific Crest Trail, I feel super enthusiastic and ready to hike other long-distance trails. In America, there's something known as the Triple Crown of hiking, and that includes the Pacific Crest Trail, the Continental Divide Trail, and the Appalachian Trail. So this year in 2022, I plan on hiking the Continental Divide Trail, and next year in 2023, I plan on being on the Appalachian Trail and finishing my Triple Crown.